Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Vinny here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Dustin, and he's selling his Amazon Associates business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So, welcome to the show, Dustin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Vinny. Thanks.
That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to talking more about the business. Just before we dive in, I want to go over a brief summary. It's an Amazon Associates business in the apparel and accessories niche created in June 2016. The average monthly revenue for the business is $2,338, and it makes an average of $2,130 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are 2 domains and all site and content files, social media accounts, and employee contracts. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48047 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing the asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, Dustin, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building or running online businesses?
Yes, so for more than a decade now, I've been building, managing websites for local businesses and also performing SEO services. And so in 2019, I started working on this Amazon Associates website, and it was the first one that I worked on that was an Amazon Associates business. And it's been great. Building a lot of content for the site, and it's been really good so far.
That's awesome. Why did you choose this niche in particular?
Well, looking for an investment that was passive, that could be managed by an operator and by the investor. And yeah, this one just stuck out. I was making pretty good income every month, and the niche wasn't extremely hard to write for, so I thought it's a good one to jump into.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is just to clarify, was this business built or was it bought?
It was bought. So the previous owner, who's also been very helpful and fielding questions when I have them, he built the site from scratch, and then this was the first time the site had been sold.
Yeah, gotcha. So at this moment in time, why is the business being sold instead of being kept and grown?
Yep, so the investor, the owner of the website, has other interests now and other projects, and he wants to move on and 100% focus on those projects.
Sure, makes sense. Just to clarify for our listeners out there, so you're currently the operator who helps to run and manage the site, is that right?
That's correct.
Sure. Can you just discuss a bit about your experience and what you do to maintain the site on a day-to-day basis?
Yep, so the website was bought in August 2019, and I came on board in December, and everything was running great. Basically, the site just needed content added, so the owner brought me on, we developed a content plan, and we've been publishing and updating old content, trying to bolster it up and freshen it up with new content ever since basically January. And yeah, it's gone really well. The site's pretty simple to manage on a daily basis. We usually will batch work, the efforts that we put into it, meaning we'll do research for several articles that we're planning to write, and we'll plan those out over the course of a few months. That way we're not every week or even every month struggling to try to figure out what we're going to write about. We have a long list of articles we're going to write and reviews we're going to do on the different products that we like to review. And yeah, so it helps us with the workflow, do things in different batches. So right now we're currently still writing on the last batch that we decided we were going to write about, and that'll last for another almost 2 months, about another month and a half.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. What skills or requirements are there for someone who might not be familiar with this niche or the Amazon Associates business model?
So if you just want to be a passive investor, a passive owner, mostly it would be just fielding any questions that I might have, or if you have another operator that your operator would have, maybe giving yes or no's. It's definitely not, at least in our case, there's definitely not a need for daily communication. We usually send a weekly report, and then I field any questions he has or vice versa. But in terms of actual skills, if they're going to run it themselves, a buyer, they would obviously need to know how to do some keyword research. They need to look at their competitors to determine if it's something they might be able to rank for. Also to see where there's gaps in the market, things they haven't written about yet that they potentially rank for. Also to have a look at their current content and see what ways could they expand that. And then if they're going to have writers and not do the writing themselves, then obviously a little bit of project management to be able to organize their writer or writers and get the content briefs to the writers so they can write best content they could write for the site. And then if they're going to be the one to post it to the site, they should be familiar with WordPress. There's use of shortcodes. It's not just only text that's added to the site. There is some shortcode usage, which is really easy. You can show how to do this. And yeah, maybe a little marketing to share on your social profiles. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can read your reports in Amazon Associates. That's also not a difficult task. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. It sounds like you've got a really good handle on things. Will you be continuing with the business after the sale?
Yeah, I'm open to it. I mean, unless they want to make some kind of offer to change on how the service is delivered, we don't need to change anything from the way it is right now. I have a writer on staff that if the buyer does not want to keep me as the operator on board, the writer probably would go with me to work on my projects. But I could be open to the writer working with the buyer, though the writer is really focused on writing. So it's not like the writer would take over any of the other work being done. Yes, definitely open to staying on board. And if not, though, more than happy to, obviously turn over everything, do some video walkthrough, any SOPs we have, turn that over to the new owner.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for clarifying that for me, Dustin. I just want to check on basically your experience of running this site so far. Is there anything that you learned from running the Amazon Associates business that you would apply to future sites or businesses?
I mean, this should go without saying, really, but I sometimes feel like I review site and they don't put too much effort into the actual review. Like they're just trying to get some content up and move on. Whereas we have a methodology. We've actually developed a way of scoring the products that we're going to review and put on the site. So it's not just a matter of going to Amazon and searching for these kinds of products and just slapping up a bunch of products and short reviews based on what it says on the listing itself. Like we try to put a little bit of effort into, more detailed effort into giving the reader an understanding of what the benefits of each product are and what actually drives that benefit. That's how we try to convey to the reader, like, here's the benefit, here's what gives you that benefit. So they're not just getting like a really short list of pro cons about each product. So we try to be a little bit more detailed in respect to that so they can make a better and more informed decision.
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip. Again, thanks for sharing that. I just want to move over now in terms of marketing. Where does the majority of the traffic come from for the site?
Most of it comes from organic search. So Google is the primary organic driver of traffic, then Bing, then Yahoo, DuckDuckGo. We do get some traffic from Reddit, a little bit from Pinterest, though we don't make any actual efforts on Pinterest. So these are things I think people are go and share the site on these other websites, these other social media sites, but we don't really do much social media. So I think there's some opportunity there for someone who's really prolific with that or would like to hire someone to do it.
Yeah, that's great. I'll come back to that point about potential growth opportunities. I just want to ask, what do you currently do in terms of marketing then at the moment?
I mean, we don't have an email list. We don't do anything on social. So it's just writing the content and posting it and then going in and updating old content and then, checking to see if that's helped improve the traffic for that particular post. That's really it. So lots of opportunity there.
Yeah, let's talk about opportunities then. So, I mean, if you were to continue running the business, obviously you just mentioned about social media being one avenue to explore further. What are some other ways that you could try to grow it?
Yeah, definitely social media. I don't know that this would lend itself well to paid traffic. Maybe some really light retargeting, though I'm not really sure. email, I'm actually a pretty big fan of email. It's something we discussed early on, like before I started the project, but it was tabled, like we shelved it and we tabled it, we talked about it, and then we shelved it and decided, at least for the early parts of me working with doing a kind of email collection or email marketing. So I could see social and email being an opportunity there.
For sure, yeah. What do you think are the biggest risks with the site that a buyer should be aware of?
I mean, as with anything that relies on search engine traffic, you're at the whims of Google's search algorithm updates. Same with when you have, Amazon Associates. For anybody who doesn't know, they had an update to their affiliate percentages they were given in certain categories. So, when you're reliant on a couple, like one pillar for your traffic and one for your monetization methods, you have to be careful. And so while this business is pretty heavily reliant on one traffic method and one way of monetizing, it's open for, better monetization and expanding the traffic sources. So I guess my warning is, don't be reliant on one, expand when possible. So we've been focused really heavily on just generating the content and not so much on expanding out our methods of either marketing it or even monetizing it.
Yeah, I think that's really solid advice. Yeah, diversifying is definitely a really good way to sort of mitigate the risk for sure. Just a few wrap-up questions for you here, Dustin. How much support are you offering buyers? Is it the standard 30 days of email and 2 Skype calls?
Definitely the standard, but I'm not going to, somebody messages me on day 31 or day 61 or even 91, I'm not going to be like, hey, sorry, man, I can't help you. There's just no way. But I can't. I don't want to be like a full-on customer support for someone who refuses to go out and get an operator, or doesn't want to do the work themselves. But I'll absolutely be readily available for a year. If someone has a question like, hey, what did you do here? Obviously, if I have record of doing it, then I'll totally give them support and try to give them the best response possible. So, and the previous owner, he's open to that as well. I think he realizes there's sometimes networking opportunities there. So he's been really, really kind. And this site was purchased just short of a year ago. And he's actually talked to him yesterday. So he's been very gracious as well. So I would like to extend the same as he has for me because it's been beneficial.
That's really good to hear. Would you be open to a non-compete?
Yes.
Okay. So just last question for you here then, Dustin. Putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, if you already have a portfolio of sites and you have systems in place, you have a team, this could be one that, even without me, I'm more than happy to go with it. But if you have these things in place, this is something where you can go in and do your own research and figure out, is there some things that even I missed, that could instantly boost the site. So if you could plug your own team into that, I think that'd be great. If you wanted to be hands-off and just be there to take reports, field a few questions here and there, and keep me on board, and you want to be that kind of an investor, I think it would be great for you as well. And if you wanted to be, someone who wanted to get your hands in there and do it all yourself, I don't see why this couldn't be a good site for that. The things that we write about, I'll just say they're not rocket science. You can go in and you can learn about it pretty quickly. And then I highly recommend you just try to serve your readers the best you can. They'll come back if you give them good content. So, yeah, I think any of those 3 kinds of people would be good investment for you.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything that you'd like to share that you think I might have missed?
If you buy sites like this, you got to be careful, man. Don't go out and make a bunch of changes. Sometimes we didn't do this. We didn't make any major change when this site was bought. I just recommend that to people. I've heard horror stories of people going out and they start changing themes and designs and radically changing things, and then they, just don't do that. Let this thing sit and keep operating it the way it was operated, and slowly make whatever changes you think need to be made. I recommend that to anybody. I'm not just talking about this site. Don't go buy something and just dramatically change things. You're taking a big risk.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Well, I think that's everything I need to ask you for today, Dustin. So thank you very much for joining me on the call today.
Yeah, no problem. Glad I could sit in on this with you. And like I said, I'm available anytime for doing interviews, or if the buyer buy it, whenever the buyer picks up the site, I'm here for support. So just let me know.
That's great. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 48047. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about the business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.